I am in Ouray, Colorado, a historic southwestern Colorado town nestled within the magnificent San Juan Mountains, so it is often referred to as the Switzerland of America. I'm starting off here at an overlook above the town, which is surrounded by some colossal mountains. That is an incredible sight. I see why they call it the Switzerland of America. There's a waterfall on a mountain, we'll see that later. Downtown Ouray has a lot of historic buildings. This is a classic Colorado mining town. The town was founded in 1876 as prospectors started coming to this region to find silver and gold. Several gold and silver veins were found nearby, so mines were established. The biggest one was the Camp Bird mine, which produced over 1 million ounces of gold by 1916. The Denver and Rio Grande Railway also went through town. The town is named after Chief Ouray, who was the leader of the local Ute tribe during the late 19th century. This is the Chief Ouray Trading Post. There's a wood-carved Native American outside. I love the architecture on these buildings. There's a lady leg lamp in the window. Here's Duckett's Market, built in the year 1900. This placard shows that many wooden buildings were replaced around the turn of the century. Many of the structures are the ones still standing. Here's a classic neon sign advertising Ouray liquor. The town is clearly surrounded by towering mountains. They can be seen in the background from pretty much any angle. It's really awesome. Just off Main Street is one of the coolest buildings in Ouray, the City Hall. This town hall was built in 1900, and its design was clearly based on Independence Hall, especially the tower. Also notice there's a separate old bell tower behind it. This bell in front was cast in 1900, so it was probably up in the bell tower. I took a quick peek inside. It looks rather modern, but there is a portrait of George Washington. This is the Ouray County Courthouse, built in 1888. The famous film True Grit was filmed in this area of Colorado, mostly in Ridgway, which is north of here. But this courthouse was used as a filming location for the courtroom scenes in that movie. Unfortunately, the courtroom wasn't open to view. And just over there is a 200-foot waterfall. This town is amazing. Here's the Ouray County Historical Museum, which is actually a really good one. I have a separate video on that linked in the description. That is the Ouray Alchemist Museum and Penthouse. I have a separate video on that. It is the gem of Ouray. I like seeing the designs on these old cast iron buildings. Here's a minecart planner. This is the wonderful Beaumont Hotel, built in 1886 and featuring a variety of architectural styles. When this hotel opened, the Palmer House Hotel in Chicago sent employees to operate it. This was also one of the first hotels in the country that was wired with alternating current electricity. Presidents Theodore Roosevelt and Herbert Hoover did stay here. There is also a giant bronze bear. This is Wright's Opera House. Built in 1888, back in the day this was one of the only forms of entertainment for the miners. At least it was generally cleaner than others. This building also has some incredible architecture. Here is the Elks Lodge of Ouray, built in 1904. It's a fascinating Victorian building, and there is an elk sculpture outside. Here's the Ouray Chalet Inn, the first bit of Swiss theming I found in town. For being the Switzerland of America, it's definitely lacking in Swiss theming. There are towns in the middle of America like Sugar Creek, Ohio, and Bern, Indiana, that have much better theming. I guess it gets that name more so because of the Alp-like mountains. Here's a ski bench. That's a neat mural. This is the hardware and mercantile store, where they sell John Wayne toilet paper. This is the Western Hotel, built in 1889. This is one of the few classic Wild West wood frame hotels that still stand, and it primarily served passengers traveling on the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad, as the station was right by here. It does appear to be under renovation, which is great to see, not sure what it's going to become. Here's a little peek inside at the staircase. And this structure next to it was built in 1887 by George Wilder and Company. Here's where I'm staying in Ouray, at the River's Edge Lodge and Resort. It's a nice little riverside resort. The mountainous scenery is very visible from this hotel. There are some great views. Now I have driven over to see Cascade Falls, which is only a few blocks away from Main Street in downtown Ouray. It's very close by, you could easily walk here. From the parking area there is a short walk to the waterfall. The Perimeter Trail passes by here. It's a 5-mile hiking trail that surrounds the perimeter of Ouray. Here is Lower Cascade Falls. That is magnificent. This waterfall is about 200 feet tall. This is apparently the lowest of a series of 7 waterfalls cascading down this mountain. There is an even cooler waterfall here in Ouray called Box Canyon Falls, and I have a separate video on that linked in the description. This is the old Ouray livery barn, built in 1883. Just a little north of downtown is Felon Park. Here's a big fish pond. This was originally a brick pit. There was a brickyard here in the late 19th century. The family who owned it left their pet goldfish in this pit, which was filled with water, and that started this century-old fish pond, today filled with koi fish. This is the San Juan Miners Memorial, featuring a statue of a miner. It memorializes the miners who worked around here and originally built this town, and most of the infrastructure people still use today in the San Juan Mountains. I like the use of different rocks on this wall. Nearby is the Ouray Mining Park, which has some antique mining equipment. I did visit a gold and silver mine here in Ouray called the Bachelor Syracuse Mine, and I have a separate video on that will be linked in the description. Here are the Ouray Hot Springs. The pools in this park utilize the natural hot spring water from nearby Box Canyon. The Utes enjoyed these miracle waters centuries ago. Then this complex of hot springs pools was built in the 1920s, and they are still popular today. I have returned back to downtown to take another look around more towards the evening. On this site in 1897, apparently nothing happened. Here is the Outlaw Restaurant, where I'm gonna get dinner. This historic structure has housed a restaurant since the 1940s. It became the Outlaw in 1968. The restaurant was frequently visited by John Wayne while he was filming for 1969's True Grit. Not sure when they were filming if this would have been called the Outlaw yet or not. This restaurant is very old-fashioned, somewhat similar to a Wild West saloon. That is John Wayne's hat behind the bar. The Duke wore this hat while filming True Grit in the region. Apparently the restaurant's owner, Addie Bonatti, ignored John Wayne's call to the restaurant. When she found out who called, she was mortified and got back to him. So John Wayne did come at least a few times. He played pool here and drank a little bit. And he donated his hat. There are lots of autographed pieces of plywood lining the walls, along with photos of Western icons. There's a picture of Custer's last stand. I can see Cascade Falls from my seat. There is a cowboy pianist playing at the Outlaw, and he's really good. food here is delicious. That was a great steak. So I had a great time at the Outlaw Restaurant, and thanks to the pianist John Hudson for letting me film. Clearly he is great. I did purchase a couple of his albums and really enjoyed them. Well, the sun is setting on the town of Ouray. There might even be some alpine glow. Night has fallen on Ouray, Colorado. See the floating illuminated letters? That's a big old Box Canyon advertisement that is above Box Canyon. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Ouray, Colorado. It's a really fascinating and underrated town. There's some great history and architecture, along with some very interesting museums and attractions. Those videos are linked in the description. Also, check out my plethora of other videos from across Colorado and the United States, featuring all sorts of towns, roadside attractions, museums, national parks, and more. Also, make sure to like this video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. I do appreciate it. Thanks for watching.